Second thing is, you look at it and you ask yourself, am I doing what I need to be doing? And these things, some of these things can happen in a week and 2 weeks, depending what they are. Like I said, some of these things on my list have taken me 15 years to do, and I've just taken a little chunk at a time until finally I get there. Are you doing what you need to be doing? So that list is important, and I used to keep it on a piece of paper, but now it's on a computer, of course. But it used to be on a piece of, and why is it on a piece of, was it on a piece of paper? Because there was no computers back when I started it. That's why. That's why. All right. The next thing that has been very, and hey, none of these things I thought of. It's not like I came up with these great ideas. These are all things that someone told me that impacted my life, that I still think about. One thing that I've always thought about is, I forgot who told me this. I think it was a professor when I was a freshman. It was a baseball metaphor. It was baseball. Does anybody like baseball? Does anybody know anything about baseball? Do you know anything about baseball? Because I really don't. I just know a very little bit about baseball. But, pro baseball player. What do they need to hit, their average, to be considered a good hitter? Just a good, not great, but just good. What's their batting average? 300. Perfect. So to be a good hitter, where you stand out because you're good, you hit a 300. Now, what does that mean statistically? I bat a 300. What does that mean?
30%.
30%. That means I fail 70% of the time. I fail 70% of the time, but I'm still good. I'm okay, I'm average, I'm not average, I'm good. But what does it take to be what's a great average? That is gonna make me millions and millions more than everybody else.
Like 415
or 400. That means I'm great. I'm awesome. I'm gonna stand out from the rest of the crowd. And what does that essentially mean statistically? A 400.
40%.
I still fail 60% of the time. I still fail 60% of the time. And what's the difference between good and great? How many more hits? From good to great? One more hit out of 10. That's it. Just one more. So the lesson in this is to go from good to great doesn't take that much more. To stand out. So what makes a person go from here to here? Of course, there's natural talent, of course. But what else is there? Determination, right? Hard work. Staying for school, for work, going in a little bit extra early, staying a little bit extra late, thinking a little deeper. All those things, just that little tiny bit, you can go from good to great. And remember, you miss 70% of the time. You miss 60% of the time, but you're still great. So you can fail, you'll fail lots of times, but to go from good to great, just a little bit more, and it's based on effort. I don't know if you saw this weekend was our homecoming, and they had distinguished alumni here. And two of the distinguished alumni were from the Justice Studies Department, and they're both attorneys. One is the judge in this district. His name is O'Gorman, Judge O'Gorman. And so I asked him, what is the difference between you and other, because he's a young man. I mean, he's only, I don't think he's 40 yet, and he became a judge here at 35, and that is rare to be a judge at 35. And before he was a judge, he worked at the biggest law firm in the state of Nebraska, the most kind of famous law firm. So he got hired right out of there, and I go, so what was the difference between you and other people? And he just said, he goes, let me tell you something. He goes, I had average grades when he was growing up. He goes, my ACT score was an 18, but he goes, I was number 2 in my class. And he said it was based on hard work. That's all he said. It was based on hard work. He said that when during his graduation ceremony, the dean who was talking said, I want you all to think about all the law students who are graduating. I want you to all to think about you're here today and how much time and effort and studying you put in. And then he said, O'Gorman, that's twice. For you, O'Gorman, that's twice. Because he even knew, he recognized that that's how much you work. So he was, ACT 18 is very average. He was number 2 in his class, went to the number one law firm in Nebraska, and very successful. And he's a country guy. He was in Omaha and wanted to be back in the country. So he got offered to apply for a judgeship, and he got it in 35. That's so rare, he said, based on hard work. So hard work is so important. Of course, there's natural ability, but hard work is what's going to get you through it. Hard work is going to get you through it. Now, so this has always been important to me. This metaphor of just working a little harder. Doesn't take much more to go from good to great. Doesn't take that much more effort, but there is an effort. Keeping a list, making sure you look at that list regularly and saying to yourself, am I doing what I need to be doing to accomplish what I have on that list? Am I doing what I need to be doing? And I'm going to tell you, once you have a list for 10, 15 years, you're going to have this list of scratched off things. And you're going to be amazed at what you did. Because you got to have a focus. You got to have focus. Or it's just a wish if you don't have a focus. If you don't have a clear goal and a clear way to get that goal, it's just a wish. And we want more than a wish. We want to move forward. We want to accomplish things. And the last thing I want to talk about that has been so important to me, so important to me that I think about it, I'm not going to say daily, but I think about it a lot before I talk about it. When I was in graduate, if you were a freshman, you saw me talk about this at the freshman class, to the freshman class. When I was in grad school, working on my PhD, it is a grind. I'm going to tell you, it is a grind. And everybody gets to that point where you go, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know if it's worth it. And I remember there's this really hip and cool professor. He was a young guy, and he was one of those super cool dudes. Dr. Willie Higgins. He's such a cool guy. And I went up to him one day and I said, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know if I want to do this anymore. He said to me, he goes, oh, you think this is about you? I was like, I don't know what that means. It's about me. I don't like it. I don't want to do it anymore. And so what he told me later was this: your education is not about you. When you go graduate, you've gone to high school graduation, right? Who goes to see it? Just you? Who goes? Your parents, teachers, family, friends, and when you graduate from here, I guarantee you, you're not going to be there by yourself. You're not going just so you can sit there and go, hey, for me, right? You're going to be there. You go to a graduation, the stadium, the arena's filled. Because it is not about you, it is about your family, your friends, and your community. That's what it's about. Because I'll tell you this, an education elevates everybody. It doesn't just elevate you, it elevates everybody. We're going to talk about in terms of elevating. Your education it's a very rare thing. It's a very rare thing because most places, most of anything in life, there's no business majors, are there? Most of life is a zero-sum game. What does that mean, a zero-sum game? It means if I give you something, you have it, and I don't have it anymore. That's what it means. You give me $10, you don't have $10 anymore. So somebody wins, somebody loses, or not wins, loses. Somebody's out something and someone gains something. But I'm going to tell you, your education is not like that. Your education is, I give you what I know, and you have it. And then I still have it too. You tell me what you know, I have it, and you still know it. And so with our combined, we can build on that and create something better. So that is why I want you to think about your education not being about you, because it's important in that it elevates everybody around you. It's going to be good for everybody. So whenever you're thinking about quitting, I don't know if you are or not, I do, I have. I want you to think about, that is so selfish. That is so selfish, because it is about everybody but you, for the most part. How proud your family will be when you graduate. How proud your friends will be when you graduate. How proud your community will be when you graduate. So the reality is, you have this responsibility. You have a responsibility to succeed. And so you should take that responsibility, and it should be something very precious. I've never said precious before in my life, but it's something that's very precious, and you should consider that and nurture it and continue on, because it's not about you. So whenever it gets to be too much for you, go, man, I'm doing this for everybody else. Okay? So that is my spiel. That is my spiel. And I'm going to tell you this. This isn't just, it's obviously kind of a lecture, but all these things have been important to me in my life, and I think it has helped me, because I probably, there's a 50-50 chance when I said I'm done, and if that guy didn't have that talk with me, that professor, that Dr. Higgins, I probably would have been done, because I didn't have something telling me why I'm doing it for. I was this person going, this is about me, this is about me, this is about me, and then after a while you realize it's not about you. It's just very selfish. And so to quit, I think is selfish. To quit your education, I think it's selfish. All right, what kind of questions you got for me? What kind of questions? What kind of things do you have on your list? What do you get? Read me one thing on your list. Good. And so you have that list, and so we know that is a long term, right? You're gonna first thing you have to get your undergraduate degree, then you're gonna have to pick a school. So that needs to be on your list. This is the schools I want to go to, and then it's usually I can give you advice. Get your master's degree first, and then your PhD. Just don't go into PhD program, because I've met a couple people who have got their undergraduate, gone to their PhD, worked on their PhD, and then after, it's a grind, I'm not going to lie to you. And then if they get to their dissertation, just go, I'm done. So 8 years later, they don't have anything. So get your master's, and then get your PhD. Because some programs, you can just go straight to your PhD. Okay, so get the master's first. And it gives you a little bit of, confidence, and it also gives you a little bit of something forward to look to. So you look forward to this, and so I can do my steps. Good. In? Very good. What do you got for me?
Graduate.
Perfect. And so what do you need to do to graduate?
Pass my classes.
Pass my classes by you know what? That's a good point. And I know you do better than passing class. I know you do better. But there's this other thing I don't think about all the time, but I think about it a little bit. Has anybody heard of the flying Walendas? Flying Walendas? Have you heard of them?
No. Oh, or, no, maybe.
They were
Acrobats.
this guy was a trapeze artist. He walked what's that thing called?
The
Tightrope. The tightrope. And he was always successful. And this is a true story. He was always successful. And then as he got older, he did one last walk, and he fell and died.
Oh my goodness.
And they wondered why he fell. And before he got onto the rope, he said, I hope I don't fall. And so they call this the Walenda effect. They call it the Walenda effect. Because before he was saying he was just looking at the goal. I'm going to make it over there. And then the last time he said, I hope I don't fall. Two different ideas. The same idea, I want to make it the overside, but two different ideas of why. There's a big difference from saying, I hope I win, rather than I hope I don't lose. There's a big difference. So when you look at classes and grades, I would set a goal for a grade. Say, I want to get a B, I want to get an A, I want to get a C. Your goal shouldn't be, I hope I don't fail. I hope I don't fail, because that is probably going to lead to failing. Because you don't have a clear goal. You don't have a clear goal. So you have to have a clear goal of this. Or otherwise, you don't have a goal, and failure is probably pretty possible. Okay, that's called the Wallenda effect. All right. What else? What else you got?
We need our names. Yes, please.
PhD as well.
Good, good. And you're right on your way, right? You tutor, you're doing all these things you need to be doing. You're just taking these little steps where you need to go. So good, good. Because I've heard a lot about you. Yeah, of your tutoring skills. So, okay, good job. Good job. So it'll be math?
I don't know.
So, are there any questions about anything? Anything?
How do you stay organized?
How do I stay organized?
Question?
Not organized. Yeah. What? Someone say my
I
name?
say, do you stay organized?
I'm pretty organized. I'm pretty organized. I keep things in certain piles. Yeah.
It's organized to you.
It is, but sometimes it gets overwhelming. I get a little bit off, but I think that is important. I think the more organized you are, you don't waste a lot of time. You don't waste a lot of time searching for things that you should have right there. And I to be honest, I do search a lot for things like my keys, Nathaniel hides my keys all the time, and I'm locked out of my office, and I'm running around the building looking for my keys. But so I actually bought a fob that tracks my keys.
Oh, that's funny.
Tracks my keys, because I was wasting so much time looking for my keys. But in general, yeah, I think the more organized you are, the easier it's going to be. Certainly. It's going to be. I'm going to tell you, this is another little tidbit that I picked up. Police, I teach criminal justice. Police in the past, and I think they still do, they used to go out in the parking lot and look in your car before you were interviewing, or while you were interviewing. And the theory behind that was, if your car is organized, you're a pretty organized person. If your car is a fright, you're probably a fright. So, I always keep my car clean. Keep my car clean. But yeah, that's what they used to do to tell if a person was pre-organized. If their car was messy, they're probably pretty unorganized. If their car's tipped up, they're probably pretty organized people. I don't know if that's true, but I know they used to do that. I think they still do. So if you ever apply for a police job, make sure you wash your car and clean
Before
it on
you
the
go.
inside. That's what I tell everybody. Make sure your car's clean. This one professor told me this when I was applying for a job. Well, there's a whole bunch of us. So it's kind of back to the car thing. There was a whole bunch of us, and we were all applying for jobs. And he said, so when you apply for a job like a professor, it's probably a 2 or 3 day deal. You have to go and meet everybody, talk, give lectures. And he said, listen, he goes, if you're crazy, no, the first thing he said was, don't act crazy. And if you are crazy, suppress it for 2 days. So that's back to the car thing. If you are messy, please click with me for those 2 days you're interviewing. Anything else? All right. Hey, I appreciate you guys' time. Thank you.
Thank you.